The Widow Who Bought Back Her Dignity in Houston Heights by Margaret Louise, as told to the channel. I never pictured myself eating cup noodles and a La Quinta off the 610 loop, watching the neon vacancy sign flicker like a bad heartbeat. But there I was, Clara Jeanne Moreau, 59 years old, widow of 34 years, and freshly evicted from my own daughter's life. My name's Clara, and until 6 months ago, I still set the table for 3 every Sunday. Me, my late husband Ray, and our only child Lauren. Ray died quick, pancreatic cancer, diagnosed on a Tuesday, gone by Friday. I kept cooking for 3 out of habit, then out of grief, then out of stubborn hope that Lauren would come home from her Heights bungalow and sit in Ray's chair again. She did, once. Brought her husband, Bryce, a 32-year-old serial entrepreneur who wore $400 sneakers and called everyone bro. They needed a place to crash while their kitchen reno finished. I gave them the master bedroom, took the pull-out in the den, and cooked gumbo in my own cast iron pot. 3 weeks later, Bryce cornered me in the laundry room. "Clara, bro, we love you, but the nursery timeline moved up. We need the space." Lauren wouldn't meet my eyes. She just twisted the diamond on her finger, the one Ray and I bought her for graduation, and said, "It's only temporary, Mom. You'll find something cute." Cute! I was 59, with a bad hip and a pension that wouldn't cover a studio in Montrose. I packed 2 suitcases and Ray's old violin case he swore held family history. I left the gumbo pot. Figured they'd need it more than I would. The La Quinta clerk took pity and gave me the weekly rate. I parked my 2003 Camry under the buzzing streetlight and cried so hard the steering wheel shook. Then I stopped. Crying uses water I couldn't afford to lose. Week 2, I pawned Ray's wedding ring for $180. Bought a Whataburger #1 with honey butter chicken biscuit and ate it in the pawn shop lot, watching the sunrise smear orange across the freeway. That's when I opened the violin case for the first time in 20 years. Inside, no violin. Just yellowed envelopes tied with twine, a brass key, and a Polaroid of my mama, 25, radiant, standing beside a man in a Stetson I didn't recognize. On the back, in Mama's looping cursive, "See, don't hate me. He gave me a future I couldn't give you. Love always, M." The envelopes were love letters. 37 of them, dated 1964 to 1966, addressed to Dearest Camille and signed Yours in Secret, TP. Postmarks, Houston, Dallas, New Orleans. TP wrote like a man who owned the sky. "The Heights land is yours when I'm gone. Trust will be under Clara Jeanne Moreau. Goldstein and Associates will know." Mama's name was Clara Jeanne Moreau. I was Clara Jeanne Moreau. I'd never heard of any trust. Mama died when I was 7, overdose, they said. I grew up in foster homes, met Ray at 16, married at 18, never looked back. I drove to the downtown library with the brass key in my fist. The microfiche room smelled like old paper and broken dreams. Took me 2 hours to find the obit. Thomas Pierce Sr., 68, Houston real estate magnate, dies in private plane crash, 1983. Survived by wife, 2 sons, no mention of a daughter. But the law firm, Goldstein and Associates, was still listed in Louisiana Street. I showered in the La Quinta sink, put on my only blazer, navy, 2 sizes too big now, and took the Greyhound downtown. The receptionist looked like she'd never seen a woman in orthopedic sneakers before. "Mr. Goldstein retired," she said. "But Mr. Goldstein Jr. might see you." Leonard Goldstein Jr. was 70 if he was a day, with kind eyes and a handshake that didn't squeeze. I slid the Polaroid, the key, and the top letter across his desk. He read in silence, then opened a drawer and pulled out a file thick as a phone book. "Clara Jeanne," he said, voice cracking like thin ice. "Your father set this up the year you were born. Said if you ever came looking, give you the keys and let the chips fall." The chips were a trust worth $2.8 million in 1983 dollars, now grown to $4.1 million after quiet investments in Heights rentals, 12 bungalows on Yale Street, all paid off, one empty lot on White Oak where a boutique hotel was planned but never built. I didn't cry. I just asked, "Can I stay anonymous?" Leonard smiled. "Welcome to Delaware LLCs, ma'am." I named it CJ Holdings. Camille Jean. First purchase, the 6-unit townhome complex on 18th Street where Lauren and Bryce lived. Distressed sale, owner bankrupt, auction in 10 days. I bid through a proxy, won at $1.9 million cash. Title transferred to CJ Holdings. Nobody knew Clara Moreau was the new landlord. I kept the La Quinta another month, learned QuickBooks on the lobby computer, hired a property manager named Marisol who didn't ask questions, and started renovations on 5 of the 6 units. New quartz counters, reclaimed pine floors, those fancy rain shower heads influencers love. Unit 4, Lauren and Bryce's, got nothing but a leaky roof patch and a polite notice. Rent reassessed to market rate, $4,200 a month, effective immediately. Bryce lost his mind. I watched on the new Ring cameras I'd installed in the common areas. Legal, disclosed in the lease addendum. He screamed at Marisol in the leasing office, veins popping like Bayou City traffic. Lauren just stood behind him, arms crossed, eyes on the floor. I gave them 30 days. Day 28, Lauren showed up at the La Quinta. Hair in a messy bun, no makeup, carrying a Whataburger bag like a peace offering. "Mom, our rent tripled. Bryce says it's targeted. Can you help?" I took the bag, number 2 with jalapeno cheddar biscuit, extra gravy, sat her at the little table by the window. "Eat, then we'll talk." She cried into the hash browns, told me Bryce missed 2 funding rounds, their Amex was maxed out, the nursery paint was peeling because they couldn't afford the non-toxic brand anymore. I listened. When she finished, I slid the lease across the table. "Sign here, pay on time, no pets, no parties, no drama. Welcome to market rate, baby girl." She stared like I'd spoken Mandarin. You own it?" "CJ Holdings does. That's me." Lauren left without the biscuit. The crawfish boil was my idea. Tenant appreciation, Saturday, 2 p.m., front lawn of the complex. Marisol hired a Zydeco band, rented tables with red checkered cloths, flown in 200 pounds of Louisiana crawfish. I wore a sundress from Burlington and sunglasses big enough to hide behind. Tenants trickled in, young couples, a rice professor, 2 nurses who worked nights. Everybody got a CJ Holdings koozie and a cold shiner. Bryce showed up late, hair gelled, acting like he owned the place, spotted me ladling sausage into a bowl and did a double take. "Clara? Afternoon, tenant." He looked around. Newly painted siding, string lights, kids chasing bubbles. "This you're doing?" "Every penny of your rent paid for it." I smiled sweet as iced tea. "Enjoy the boil. Corn's extra spicy this year." Lauren arrived last, clutching a foil pan of macaroni like a shield. Saw me, froze. I waved her over. "Grab a plate, honey. Plenty for everyone." She set the mac down, eyes wet. "I didn't know, Mom, about the money, the buildings, any of it." "Now you do." Bryce tried to corner me by the ice chest. "This is harassment. We'll sue." Read Clause 17B. Market rent adjustments at owner's discretion. Take it up with Goldstein. He went purple. Lauren tugged his sleeve. "Bryce, stop." He shook her off. "We're not paying $4,200 for a 2-bedroom. "Then move," I said. "Plenty of studios off Fulton for $900, cash only, no credit check." That night, the Ring camera caught them arguing on the stairwell. Bryce threw a suitcase. Lauren sat on the steps and cried until the sprinklers came on at 5 a.m. They moved out on day 60. Left the nursery furniture on the curb, white crib, unassembled, with a free sign. Marisol sold it on Facebook Marketplace for $300. I kept Unit 4 empty for a month, painted it sage green, installed the rain shower head I denied them, and hung a chalkboard in the kitchen that said, "Welcome home." Then I listed it for $2,100. Fair market, no drama. Rented in 3 hours to a pediatric resident who paid 6 months up front. Lauren called on a Tuesday, voice small. "Can I come over? Not to the complex. Somewhere neutral." We met at Campesino Coffee on White Oak. She brought the violin case. "I found this in the garage after we packed. Figured it belonged to you." I opened it. The letters were gone, replaced with a single Whataburger receipt dated the day she kicked me out. On the back, in her handwriting, "I was wrong. I'm sorry. Love, L." I tucked it into my purse. "Thank you." She stirred her oat milk 16 times. Bright